Hey everyone, it's me, Melli. It's coffee and books with Melli. But today we're not doing coffee. I've had my quota for coffee today. And that would be because I actually had 2 cups of Cafe du Monde coffee and hickory. It says chicory, but it's pronounced hickory, I think. Okay. Anyway, so I've been drinking this coffee for a while now. This is my go-to when I need a super strong coffee because I'm just bleh. And I do not make this in a coffee maker, or I do not make this in my little coffee filter for my Keurig. I actually have a French press that I use for this, and there's a recipe on the back for cafe au lait, which sometimes I do. It says use drip coffee pot or percolator, but I kind of like the way it tastes in the French press. It's a little bit stronger, and so that's I'm like hyped up from it because it's really strong. It's actually really good. And I actually get this from the Asian supermarket that is around my mom's way, and I don't drink it very often, and only because it's, like I said, a strong coffee. It's like, I don't know, it's like a super strong coffee, but it's a really good coffee. Anyway, so this is why I'm not doing coffee and books with Melli today. It's tea and books with Melli. And the tea that I'm drinking is actually lotus tea, and I also got this in the Asian supermarket. I think it's Vietnamese. I'm not sure where it comes from, but yes, product of Vietnam. So it's lotus tea, and I've had this for a while too. Yeah. So this is a really good one. It kind of reminds me of a white tea because it's like I can't really show you, but if you've seen white tea, it's more of a lighter color. And this I used to have a little ceramic teapot with a little filter inside for the tea that I got when I bought this in the supermarket, but the filter, I used it, I guess, so much the mesh part of the filter started to break. So I have to get a replacement for it, which I know I can. If I roll it, I can get one. I just don't feel like it. So I use my French press for this also. And it actually comes out really good. So that's what we're drinking today. We're drinking lotus tea. Anyway, besides books today, I have some I have a lot of stuff going on. So it's going to be more of a book review, what my next book I'm going to read, a book I purchased, and what I've been up to just in general. So excuse me one moment. I hate my hair being really, like, I chopped it all off a while ago, as you can see. I chopped it off right after I had the baby. Well, I chopped it off really short, like while I was pregnant, because it was getting on my nerves. And then I cut it again right after I had my son. And it's at that weird, I can put it in a ponytail, but it's not really a ponytail. Like, it's a weird length. Anyway, so that's that. So what have I been up to? Well, I've been reading, obviously, and I've gotten back into knitting and crocheting. Not that I ever stopped. I just kind of put it to the side because with a newborn baby and then him growing and all the different things surrounding having a new child, you kind of put certain things to the side. Reading was one of them, and that was, I put reading to the side while I was pregnant, and I knit and I crochet, and now I flip-flopped. So now I'm reading more and crocheting and knitting less. But I'm working on a few projects. One I'll show you It's not really much, but I learned a new crochet stitch. This is actually yarn from my 10-year-old when I was trying to teach her to knit and crochet, and then she kind of was like, here, you can have it. But anyway, so it's this, and I don't know, you probably can't see it very well, sorry, but it's actually going to be a hat for her, and it's supposed to be worked in the round, but I find it a little bit difficult to work it around, and the reason is because that first row of after your chain, it gets hard. It's hard for me. It's hard to do the first round after I connect it, because it for some reason on me it gets twisted. So I figured out that I can work it in. I figured out that I can work it in the. I can work it flat, and then I will mattress stitch or whip stitch it, because both sides look exactly the same, so there's no wrong side. So whichever side I sew, that would be the inside. And I've noticed that when I do hatch flat like that, it actually does work really well. Anyway, so this is going to be a hat for her. Actually, I started it yesterday, and I got a pretty good amount done. It's going to be, I think, it's supposed to be like a slouchy hat. So, it's, sorry, give me 1 second. Whoops. Sorry about that. Once I figure out how to edit my videos, things like that won't happen. For some reason, though, my computer doesn't let me edit them right. It deletes the whole video. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Anyway, so I got the idea from it. Well, it's the idea and the pattern from, and I will tell you in a second, on my tablet. I got the idea from, I saw something on Tumblr for somebody I follow, and I clicked the link for the website, and I will link the website below, just in case you are a knitter or crocheter and like that idea of making something for yourself or someone else as a quick gift, because this is quick. I'm just slow in doing it because I can only do it like maybe 20 minutes at a time. And it's mamainastitch.com. So I will link that. And it's I'm actually going to click my link. It's mamainastitch.com. And it is slow. It's the favorite style and beanie. And this is what the, if you can see it, it's probably glare, but that's what it's supposed to look like. So, yeah, so I follow this person on Tumblr, and I got that idea to do for my daughter because she wanted me to crochet her something, and I started a hat, like, I don't know when, but I didn't like the way it was looking, so I just kind of just let it sit. Plus it was summertime, and anyway, so enough about that. So that's what I've been doing. I've been crocheting and reading and working and taking care of a house and kids. Okay, that's my day in the life of me. On to books. As you know, I received Sinful Folk by Ned Hayes through Buzz Books Review. Buzz Review Books. I can't think of the website. I think it's buzzbooksreview.com. Or Books Review. Okay, whatever it was. It was Books. buzzbooksreview.com. Sorry about that. I don't know why it just doesn't sound right, but it's buzzbooksreview.com. Yeah. So through emailing the author or the publisher. It was the author's website though, email though. I remember that I received this book as a surprise. I finished this book last night, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. And why did I love it? I loved it because one, it was a historical novel, and I'm a nerd. I like anything that will have a historical aspect to it. And it's also, okay, so it's historical in the Middle Ages, and it takes place in England. I'm also an England nerd. Anything, that doesn't sound right, an England nerd. Okay, I like any type of novel, book, or story that takes place in England, time period of a historical time period. Only because it's kind of interesting to see the way other countries lived at that time, because they kind of, when it's a historical novel, they have to kind of stay true to the life and times. And so what I liked about the historical aspect is that it's a story of 5 children that burned to death in a suspicious house fire. Village fathers travel hundreds of miles across England to demand justice. So this is kind of like the story of them. One of the people, one of the fathers, one of the parents is called Mir, and it's actually a she. She's living in hiding as a man and a mute to protect her son, because she was a former nun who had an liaison, so to speak, with Prince Edward, and I gotta find it. So the Black Prince, the eldest son of King Edward III. So they fall in love, but obviously, you know, she becomes pregnant, and she's a nun, and she has the baby, even though the abbess of the nunnery tries to change her mind. Anyway, so then she runs away, and she ends up at this small village, and she ends up being injured. So she injured her tongue, and so she doesn't speak, not because she can't, but just because she feels that they believe she was a man. First they think she kidnapped this child, her baby, and she at the time she has an injury, and so she can't speak. So they believe her to be a man, and so she continues on letting them believe she's a man. And anyway, so she lives in this remote village, and the book starts off of the fire. She's waking up to this commotion and this fire, and she realized her son was part of the fire. Anyway, so she goes with the village men to seek justice, and this is the journey along the way. And along the journey, she kind of the author tells her story of, you know, things that she's noticing and things she's remembering. So it's kind of like a journey of her remembering how things used to be, and her remembering moments with Edward, or her missing her dead son, and the hardships that they go through trying to get to England. It's a very, without me going into too much detail, it's a very great story for I don't know the word I'm looking for. It was very vivid for me, I guess you could say. The detail that's given of the surroundings, of the moments, of the, like, I felt like I saw, like, I had to, every time I read, every time I read some, I stopped for a little while to kind of let it sink in, because it was that, you know, it's like, okay, this is what's happening, Let me think about this. Let me make sure I get it. That's why it kind of took me so long to read it. Well, it wasn't really long, but I started at the beginning of the month, so maybe like 2 weeks about, but that's because I kept stopping, so that I can actually comprehend what's going on and kind of like just thinking about what's going on. I'm not going to give away the ending, but I will say that in the end, our story gets told. They figure out what happened to the kids, and she, in a sense, lives happily ever after. Not happily ever after, I'm going to say, but she goes back to the way things were, in a sense, prior to the tiny village. So she goes from being a nun to being promised nobility, back to being, you know, through these 10 years of hardship in life, and then she goes on to, at the end, she becomes nobility, only because of, you know, things that have happened that cause her to be cleared of what has been going on. I hope that was a really good description of the book. It was a really good story. It was very, very detailed in history. The whole story is based, well, Mir's story, I should say, is actually based on a true story, which is the Black Prince Edward the, where is it? King Edward III. So it's based around something that it's based upon a child that he had, and what the author does is he takes a moment in history and he creates a story around it. Now, what I don't know, like, was the woman a nut? Like, I don't know all that. I didn't look any of it up, but he took a moment, he took something that happened in history and created a story around it, and a really good story at that. So if you know, that's the kind of book. My speech today is not well. Sorry about that. If you like books written that it's actually just, it's historical, meaning, yes, it's based on something that happened in history, but if you want an actual real story, that something that happened in a moment in time in history and a story created around it, then this would be it. Not just, you know, it's actually based on real events. Not the journey and all that, but the child, the woman, the, you know, kind of like that. So I really enjoyed it. If you're looking, it's a historical thriller. That's what I'm gonna call it. And it was actually a good read for this time of year, not because it was gory or anything, just because it was kind of like cloaked in mystery. Like, I always wanted to know what was going on, what was going to happen, what was, you know, what was the end to this ordeal going to be. And I'm glad I read it. So that's that. So if you like historical novels with a little bit of thriller, a little bit of mystery, there's a little love story woven in it, but that's Mir's love story with Edward. I mean, it's not too detailed, but it's kind of like, you know, it gives her backstory. So I like that. So it wasn't like mushy, but it was kind of like how she came to be with him and have his child. So that's that. Okay, next thing on my list. I was at Dollar Tree yesterday. No, not yesterday. The day before. And I wasn't really looking for books, but the Dollar Tree in my area lately has been really, the one I don't normally go to this one anymore, because every time you go in there, there's boxes stacked in the aisles, and like they don't put anything away. So I was kind of ended up forced to go down the aisle with the school supplies and the books, and I was passing by, and I had my son, so I had my stroller, and I found The Truth About the Harry Quebert Affair. Quebert, I think, because it's French. This was a French book that was translated into English. A missing 15-year-old girl, a revered novelist, his ambitious young protege, and a race to uncover the truth. So this is a thriller, and they're saying this is one that everybody's been waiting for since the Millennium Trilogy. Now, I saw it, and I have seen it a couple times, and it's a penguin book. And it takes place in 1975, or it happens in 1975. I don't know if it's a true story, but I went on Goodreads, and I looked at some reviews for it. Now, I've seen some really bad ones, and I've seen some really good ones, so I kind of want to form my own opinion. I'm thinking that maybe the ones that weren't so great, 1 star, 2 star, they mostly had it may be the translation issue, where in France and in the original language it was great because it's in the original, but sometimes when you translate a work, the story kind of gets lost in translation. It's not always perfectly translated, or because one thing in one language means something else in another language, so it kind of changes the story, even though that's not the purpose. So I think that must be that's kind of what I got from some of the more negative reviews of the book, was that the story kind of got twisted in translation from French to English. But I'm going to read it. I'm going to put it on my TBR. I'm not going to read it now because it's my Halloween themed reads. I'm going to read it and I will let you know. Anyway, this is a very long video, so I'm going to cut to the chase. My next read. Mr. Darcy Vampire. I was going to read Dracula next and then Frankenstein, but after reading Sinful Folk, I kind of don't want to go into a classic yet, only because I think I'm going to save Dracula for the last. This is a pretty short read, so it's only 306 pages, and that doesn't include the epilogue, so 308 total. And yeah, so I'm going to read this one next. I'm going to start this one, and I will let you guys know what I think of it. Oh, excuse me. If you read it, let me know in the comments below. Anyway, so that's that. For today. So you got my coffee that I drink. I'm just... Okay, so you've gotten everything that's going on. You've gotten my review for Sinful Folks, my next read, a book haul, the tea I'm drinking, and the crochet project I'm working on. That's a lot in one video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I seemed as if I was rambling on. But if you have any questions, comments, want to see something specific, just let me know in the comments below. I will link the website for their site that I requested Sinful Folk from, because I know I probably got it wrong, and if I did, forgive me. I will also link the Sinful Folk website, because there is a website for the book, which is cool. So I'll link that too, so if you guys want to check it out. So until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.